meeting. This is our benefits run, as you know, from May 1 to April 30. So this upcoming week that we are about to enter from today until next Monday at noon is what we call open enrollment. Again, as you know, open enrollment is the only time where you can elect to change benefits for whatever reason. You don't have to have an extenuating or a life-changing event. I think you all know and feel the same way we all do that benefits are incredibly important to you. Benefits are incredibly important to the Barstow School. Just FYI, so important, we put $1.75 million per year, or 11% of the entire school budget, into benefits for all of us. Carolyn spends a lot of time each year looking at benefits that will serve us well and also will be the best benefit for the school. She's ready to give some more details about our benefits. The only other thing I would want you to know is we have some guests here this morning from Bucati, from Mercer, and from Legal Shield that will be here after the meeting to give you more detail and answer any questions that you might have. So at this time, Carolyn will give you some more information.
This reminds me of church where everybody sits at the back, so afraid of the front pews. Anyway, thank you for coming. I think I have really good news in that I think this year's meeting is going to be very short because the new year is very much like the year that we're in. Very, very, very little is changing. We still have the same, the same health insurance. We still have the same dental insurance and vision insurance. Very, very, very little is changing. And so we're going to spend our time going over those extra benefits that you have an option to purchase, because I just want to be sure that you understand the wonderful opportunity that we present to you to get benefits at a group discount. The one thing I know that everyone is interested in knowing is what is the change or what's the cost going to be for me for the new benefit year. So Ron, if you'll show that. There's very little change. In the medical benefit, we offer two plans, the base plan and the buy-up plan, and the cost to you, regardless of what tier you choose, meaning individual, family, spouse, children, whatever, is just going to increase by $10 a month. The dental plan, the only aspect that is going to increase is if you purchase individual dental insurance, it will increase by $4 a month. Everything else stays the same. This information will be added to our employee navigator that we use for benefits sign up, so you don't have to memorize it, you don't have to digest it. Any questions? Does everybody understand how this works? So I get that out of the way. That's the one thing. So I'm really pleased that we're able to keep our increase very, very modest for the new year. Very excited about that. And really thanks to the Bucati companies for negotiating our vision benefits so that we didn't have to raise that at all. That was very exciting. Okay. Several of you have asked Marty or Carolyn, how do I decide whether the base plan or the buy-up plan for medical is the one that I need to choose? So Ron, if you will show, there you go, thank you. While we're not in the business office of making those choices for you, I do have some information that I think would be helpful. So if you will really focus on this, I will tell you that about 2/3 of the people in this room purchased the buy-up plan. The remaining 1/3 purchased the base plan, and I'm not sure that everybody's actually picking the plan that works best for them. Of course, you never know what's going to happen to your family from a medical standpoint. But between the two plans, what is the same? The prescription drug benefit, to you, you either pay $12, $40, $60, or $200 if you have a specialty drug per month for any prescription that you take. So it doesn't matter which plan you're in, that benefit in terms of out-of-pocket cost is the same. If you go to see a non-specialist, you're just going to see your regular doctor, what's your cost? $25. Doesn't matter which plan, it's still $25. The non-network benefits are the same. So if you go out of network, which is not usually a good thing to do, but sometimes it's necessary, that's the same whether you are in one plan or the other. If you have labs done or x-rays taken at your doctor's office or an independent lab, they're at no charge to you, regardless of which plan you choose. Preventative care is at no charge to you, and you do not need a referral for a specialist, right? So those are factors not to consider. Ron, how about the next page? Okay, so what is different? Well, obviously, if you pick the base plan, that's going to cost you less. So you're going to pay $360 less if you're a single person or for some reason you're buying that benefit just for you. You're going to pay $1,560 less per year if you're buying it for your family. And I didn't do all of the tiers, but you can compare. So right off the bat, the base plan might be more advantageous if you're just thinking about the cost because the premium difference, okay? The specialist, if you have a child, let's say, that needs to go to the dermatologist on a regular basis, a specialist only costs $25 if you're on the base plan. It costs $50 if you're on the buy-up plan. So again, that's another factor for you to consider. How about urgent care? I don't know about you, but I have to admit, sometimes my family goes to urgent care because the timing works out. Well, that's only $25 on the base plan, but it's $50 on the buy-up plan. Emergency room. Well, you never want to go to the emergency room, but if you do, if you're on the base plan, the emergency room can cost you more. It can cost you quite a bit more. If you're on the buy-up plan, it's $100 to you. And if, God forbid, you or your dependent has a hospital stay during the plan year, hospital stays cost more on the base plan than they do on the buy-up plan. Next page, Ron. Okay, so again, I'm putting this on Employee Navigator so you can study it with your family members to decide which plan is better for you. But the deductibles are higher in the base plan, lower on the buy-up plan. The co-insurance is higher on the base plan. The out-of-pocket maximums are higher, except for the prescription, and the out-of-pocket maximums are lower. So it's a little bit perhaps more complicated than you might think. Ron, the last slide, please. Okay, so if you, like I, are concerned about the cost to you individually, what can you do? Well, you can always go, I recommend always go to a provider in the Cigna network. And the name of our Cigna network is OAP, Open Access Plus. That's on your card, so you don't have to memorize it. It's written right on your proof of benefits card. Use generics wherever you can, because you're going to pay $12 instead of $40 or $60, okay? Always get your annual physical exam because that doesn't cost you anything, and you might discover something that you have that you didn't know you have that needs medical attention, so don't forget to do that. And know when to go to the emergency room versus urgent care. Urgent care is the least expensive, needless to say, alternative. So I'm hoping, I know I've gone through that fairly quickly, but I'm hoping that that helps you really think, because there's a big difference in premium between the two plans. So one isn't necessarily better than the other, just depends on your set of circumstances. Does anyone stop now and ask if anyone has any questions? Yes, ma'am. I'm going to ask you to Mercer? Could you stand up and I'm sorry. Renee Rowe from Mercer is here.
So it'll be the primary care physician's office setting, so it's outpatient, which would be like a hospital setting, but we don't have to do deductibles with home insurance.
Right. These guests that Judith alluded to are going to stick around after the meeting, so if you have a question that you don't want to share in front of everybody, feel free to catch them while they're here. Okay? You potentially have 2 cards related to your benefits. One of them, they're like little credit card type things. One of them is your proof of insurance card. Great news, because we're not changing our plan, we're still self-insured and we're still using the Cigna network, then that card that you have continues to be good. So you don't need to wait for a new card unless you make a change. If you're in the buy-up plan and you decide, you know what, I'm going to save and I'm going to go with the base plan, then you'll get a new card. If you're saying, I don't want dental insurance, I'm going to go with my spouse's dental insurance plan, then you'll get a new card. I'm going to add a dependent, you'll get a new card. But if your family situation and what you choose is the same, that card is still good. Does that make sense? So don't lose it. That proof of insurance card that you have is still what you will need on May 1st going forward. The other thing you may have is a Flex card, which is a debit card, and it's blue and it says New Synergy on the front. I'm going to have our guest from Bucati explain a little bit more about that plan, but that card, if you have one, keep it. If you're like me and you've already used up all the money that was on there, it's going to be reloaded May 1 with whatever amount you choose to add to that new benefit year. So again, if you have those cards, you want to hang on to them because they continue to be good and the one will be reloaded. Questions about the cards? Okay. Yes, I'm sorry, yes, sir.
Is there a benefit rates created with the card, after the 30th of April, or do you have to, if you have stuff on, you have to set it before April 30th on the Synergy card, the Flex card?
Okay, can you hold your question and we're going to talk about that plan, and because I do want you to get that answered. I'm just talking about if you understand that you have the card or need the card and that it's still good and that sort of thing. Okay, I'm going to have Matt Miller come up and he's going to talk to you about all of our voluntary benefits. Matt?
All right, thanks, Caroline. I don't want to overstay my welcome here or make your promise of a short meeting inaccurate. So we'll go through this pretty quick. As mentioned, not a lot's changing this year. Rates are staying the same on all of these policies, so that's great news. I think Brad is actually going to talk about our vision and voluntary life insurance here in just a moment, but I'm just going to give everyone a quick refresher on the voluntary accident and critical illness insurance plans. And so where these plans fit in your overall benefit package is that they are deductible filler plans. So they fill the gap on your medical insurance where you have that deductible, that out-of-pocket maximum that you might run into if you have a major claim. So in this case, accident insurance or critical illness insurance. The one that's up on the screen now is the accident insurance, and this one covers you or any dependents that you choose to cover for accidental injuries. So it's pretty straightforward. You have an accidental injury, you're going to run through and you're going to present your medical card, whether it be the Barstow card or whether it be through a spouse's plan or some other plan that you might have available to you, and you're going to do things normally, just like that. However, after the fact, you're going to come to hopefully me and say, hey, I had an accidental injury, or my child had an accidental injury. How do I get that reimbursement back? And so what you do is you'll file a claim with the company, a surety. They'll go through and they'll say, all right, well, you went through this, and this. You had an emergency room treatment or an urgent care visit. You had a broken bone, you had a hospital stay, whatever it might be associated with that accident. And they're going to tally all those benefits up. And at the end of the day, what they're going to say is, all right, this is a $2,200 check, or this is a $10,000 check, or this is a $60 check. It just depends on what you went through. And they're going to cut that check directly back to you, and you use that however you need to. So most likely, in a lot of cases, you're going to have some medical out-of-pocket. So you're going to have that deductible that you got to meet. You're going to have that out-of-pocket maximum that you have to meet, and then you're going to pay those bills. You're going to pay those providers. Anything that's left over is yours. So you can use it however you want. You can not pay your medical bills too. I wouldn't suggest it, but you can do that. So that check is cut to you directly, and you use that how you see fit. What makes this benefit particularly unique and something that actually isn't offered out on the market anymore is that it has a really strong incentive on wellness. So what they do is they'll give you $150 if you...
You don't need to wait for a new card unless you make a change. If you're in the buy-up plan and you decide, you know what, I'm going to save and I'm going to go with the base plan, then you'll get a new card. If you're saying, I don't want dental insurance, I'm going to go with my spouse's dental insurance plan, then you'll get a new card. I'm going to add a dependent, you'll get a new card. But if your family situation and what you choose is the same, that card is still good. Does that make sense? So don't lose it. That proof of insurance card that you have is still what you will need on May 1st going forward. The other thing you may have is a flex card, which is a debit card, and it's blue and it says New Synergy on the front. I'm going to have our guest from Bucati explain a little bit more about that plan, but that card, if you have one, keep it. If you're like me and you've already used up all the money that was on there, it's going to be reloaded May 1 with whatever amount you choose to add to that new benefit year. So again, if you have those cards, you want to hang on to them because they continue to be good and the one will be reloaded. Questions about the cards? Okay. Yes, I'm sorry, yes, sir.
Is there a benefit rates created with the card, after the 30th April, or do you have to, if you have stuff on, you have to set it before April 30th on the Synergy card, the Flex card?
Okay, can you hold your question and we're going to talk about that plan, and because I do want you to get that answered. I'm just talking about if you understand that you have the card or need the card and that it's still good and that sort of thing. Okay, I'm going to have Matt Miller come up and he's going to talk to you about all of our voluntary benefits. Matt?
All right. Thanks, Caroline. I don't want to overstay my welcome here or make your promise of a short meeting inaccurate. So we'll go through this pretty quick. As mentioned, not a lot's changing this year. Rates are staying the same on all of these policies. So that's great news. I think Brad is actually going to talk about our vision and voluntary life insurance here in just a moment, but I'm just going to give everyone a quick refresher on the voluntary accident and critical illness insurance plans. And so where these plans fit in your overall benefit package is that they are deductible filler plans. So they fill the gap on your medical insurance where you have that deductible, that out-of-pocket maximum that you might run into if you have a major claim. So in this case, accident insurance or critical illness insurance. The one that's up on the screen now is the accident insurance, and this one covers you or any dependents that you choose to cover for accidental injuries. So it's pretty straightforward. You have an accidental injury, you're going to run through and you're going to present your medical card, whether it be the Barstow card or whether it be through a spouse's plan or some other plan that you might have available to you, and you're going to do things normally, just like that. However, after the fact, you're going to come to hopefully me and say, hey, I had an accidental injury, or my child had an accidental injury. How do I get that reimbursement back? And so what you do is you'll file a claim with the company, a surety. They'll go through and they'll say, all right, well, you went through this, and this. You had an emergency room treatment or an urgent care visit. you had a broken bone, you had a hospital stay, whatever it might be associated with that accident, and they're going to tally all those benefits up, and at the end of the day, what they're going to say is, all right, this is a $2,200 check, or this is a $10,000 check, or this is a $60 check. It just depends on what you went through. And they're going to cut that check directly back to you, and you use that however you need to. So most likely, in a lot of cases, you're going to have some medical out-of-pocket. So you're going to have that deductible that you got to meet. You're going to have that out-of-pocket maximum that you have to meet, and then you're going to pay those bills. You're going to pay those providers. Anything that's left over is yours. So you can use it however you want. You can not pay your medical bills too. I wouldn't suggest it, but you can do that. So that check is cut to you directly, and you use that how you see fit. What makes this benefit particularly unique and something that actually isn't offered out on the market anymore is that it has a really strong incentive on wellness. So what they do is they'll give you $150 if you go and get your annual physical, go get your cholesterol check, go get a well woman, something of that nature. They'll actually cut you a check back for $150 for yourself, for your spouse, and what have you. So I think, Ron, did you have that flyer, that first one that was up there? They do have a new way to claim that. So if you were participating in the accident policy, and I know quite a few people do, there is a new claims process, and this is posted on Employee Navigator as well, so you'll see this when you go through enrollment. Now you can claim that $150 back online. So all you have to do is go to the website, put in your generic information, say, hey, I went to the doctor on this date, had this test done, and then they'll cut you that check back for $150. So why that's important isn't necessarily that you're getting paid to go get your preventative screenings done, which is nice, even though you don't have to pay out of pocket for those exams. When you apply that, though, and you look at the actual cost for the policy itself, pre-taxed, it's about $150, somewhere in that range. So if you file for your wellness benefit every year, you get your $150 back. Essentially, you can subsidize the cost of an accident policy for yourself. And so if you do have that rainy day once every 4 years, once every 5 years, where you do have an accidental injury, you have this coverage available to you, but over the course of those 4 or 5 years, you didn't pay a lot into the policy because you were getting that $150 back every year. So it's a different strategy, certainly worth looking at, especially if you're looking at that base plan, if you're re-examining what medical plan is best to be on this year, if you're willing to take on a little bit more risk, take some of those premium savings home with you, this might be a good way to fill that gap and that extra out-of-pocket expense that you're liable for. Any questions on the accident plan? All right, good deal. And then secondly, Ron, do you have that other flyer? Perfect. The second one, similar concept, covering your out-of-pockets. This one related to critical illnesses, so kind of the big stuff, the things that most people don't want to think about or talk about too much, but up on the right-hand side, your heart attacks, strokes, cancer, kidney disease, kind of the big things. And the way the plan works is it pays you a lump sum benefit if you were diagnosed with any of these things. So you'll see on Employee Navigator, there's the benefit options, and it will say, you know, you're eligible for $10,000 of coverage or $20,000 of coverage or what it might be. And if you elect that coverage, you were to have a claim, like the accident policy, they're just going to cut you a check directly for that amount. The idea being that you're going to be paying off your out-of-pocket maximums and all the incidentals that you can't swipe your medical card for. So same basic premise, just a little bit different on the coverage. The nice bells and whistles to the plan is that it is an issue age policy. So what's nice about it is the rate that you sign up at is the rate you pay for life. So if you're 29, you're 39, you're 49, you're 59, you're 29, 39, 49, 59 for life. At least you can tell people that. So you have that same rate. It will never increase. So what you're quoted at open enrollment, if you haven't ever looked at it, will be what you would pay as long as you wanted to keep the policy. It's guaranteed renewable, so as long as you pay for it, you can keep it. It's portable, just like the accident policy, so if you ever leave, you can also take it with you. And there's no age reduction. So even if you keep the policy till you're 85, you have the same benefit as you did today, and you pay the same amount that you did today as well. One last kind of morbid thing, it does have what's called a return of premium built into it. And so that is, if you were to pay for the policy, you're on it for 20, 30 years, you were to pass away from something other than what's on the list. You never have cancer, you never have a heart attack, you never have a stroke, but you were to pass away from something else, they'll actually return all the premiums that you paid into the policy back out to your beneficiary. So it's kind of a guarantee that, hey, either in my lifetime I'm going to utilize this thing, I'm going to get paid my benefit amount, or I'm not going to utilize it, but my beneficiary is going to get everything that I paid back out to them. So it's a unique contract, something that doesn't exist out on the market anymore, so definitely worth taking a look at as well. I believe it also has a wellness incentive on it of $50, so same basic deal as before. If you go get those same tests, you get your $50 off of that one. Carol.
I have a question about the return of premiums.
Mm-hmm.
How do they know you died?
Good question. When we stop paying the bill, they tend to figure it out pretty quick. So yeah, if you're employed, your employer would let them know, and then they'll go after your beneficiary from there. Or if you were to have ported the policy, they'll know when they don't get their money anymore, and they research that a little bit. Any other questions on either of those policies? All right, I'm going to hand it over to Brad. He's going to talk about, I think, the vision, the life, and a few other things, and then I'll probably back up to talk about Employee Navigator. Thank you.
The vision itself, staying the same rate, same benefits, CRNC. This is the one time a year, as was alluded to maybe 20 minutes ago, where you do not need a qualifying event to add your spouse, or if you're not on the vision at all yourself. This is the one time a year you can come on the plan or add spouse and add children for open enrollment with CRNC. And that's a rundown of the benefits themselves that, again, are on Employee Navigator as well. So in the interest of time, I'll just refer to that for now and not get too deep into the weeds with it. With the life insurance, that's all staying the same. In fact, on the life insurance, it's probably not applicable to anyone in the room, of course, but on the life insurance that Barstow pays for, your basic life insurance, there was an age reduction at there was a benefit reduction at age 65. That's not going to start till age 70 now. So that's an improvement. Also with the voluntary life insurance, the employee paid. This is the one time a year you can raise the amount on yourself. This is in addition to the life insurance that Barstow provides for you. You can raise that amount on yourself by $20,000 with no medical questions. It's a guarantee issue. So hypothetically, even if you had $100,000 right now on yourself, you can move that up to $120,000 without medical questions. If your spouse, say, is at $30,000 of coverage, you could raise that by $10,000, guarantee issue. So in that example, 30 to 40 without any medical questions. This is the one time a year you can do that. And also, if you're not enrolled at all on the voluntary life insurance, you can sign up for it at guarantee issue, starting out at $20,000 of life insurance. The voluntary employee paid, That rate table is staying the same. There was no increase. Now, with this employee-paid life insurance, it has 5-year age brackets. So if you are jumping, if you had your 45th birthday, there's like a 40 to 44 age bracket. And if you just recently had your 45th birthday, you are going to jump into the age bracket of 45 to 49 as an example, which I think wherever Marty is, we have about 7 or 8 employees on that list where their life insurance premium will change just because of moving into that more graduated 5-year age bracket. Any questions at all about that? Carolyn wanted me to also talk about, she mentioned the new Synergy card for your FSA. You're not going to get a new card. You just use the same one that you've had. Then magically at midnight on April 30th, your new election for the new year will be on that card. So the morning of May 1, you can go use your newly elected amount on the new Synergy card. This gentleman had a question. Remember, if you have, say it's April 30th and you've not used, say, $400 yet of your prior elected amount. That $400 is, you're not going to lose it. That $400 is going to carry over, and you'll still have that May 1. It'll still be on your card, plus whatever elections you have for the new year. But you have that 75-day grace period. In that example, you've got 75 days starting from May 1 to use that $400. Then after that 75 days, if you still haven't used all that 400, then yeah, you've lost it. Yeah. Carolyn wanted me to mention dependent care. There's only 4 in Barstow that elect the dependent care that can be run through New Synergy pre-tax. And there's probably more in the room that utilize daycare than just 4. So I'd heavily recommend utilizing the daycare. The easiest way to take your daycare expenses out of your paycheck pre-tax, which is still just $5,000 as a maximum. That's archaic, but that's what the law still only allows us, but $5,000 for a whole year for dependent care. If you go to your daycare provider, say KinderCare, and get it on their letterhead, that you will definitely use $5,000 or more of daycare expenses for the next 12 months. Get that to me or Andrea at New Synergy. I've got my business cards here. And then how it'll work, say May 15th is your first paycheck. $5,000 divided by 24 paychecks in a year. $208 of dependent care would come out pre-tax, and then about 4 business days later, you'll get reimbursed that $208 for your daycare expenses. That's the 22nd version of how that works. But if you do have daycare expenses, I heavily recommend just at least using that $5,000. It's there just sitting there, and so roughly, depending on what tax bracket one is in, remember it's federal, state, and FICA tax-free. You would very easily save minimum of $1,000 net off your tax bill just running it through that way. That's my 60-second version in commercial for certainly using the dependent care benefit. And afterwards, I can answer any questions or give you my business card, whichever, and communicate to me after some other questions evolve. Yes? There you are.
As one of the people who uses dependent care, and as the director of admission, if your child currently attends preschool and you're paying the 40%, you can dependent care your Barstow tuition tax-free.
All the better. Yeah.
Preschool pre-K, that counts. You can do that. All right? It's like you can pay less.
Yeah, it's generally speaking, like I said, depending on the tax bracket, it's literally a 20% discount, well, on the first $5,000 of your daycare expenses. one of these days, that 5,000 will be increased, but just write your congresswoman or congressman in the meantime with that.
Nick, did we answer your question?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions for our guests? Okay, then next I'm going to have Kathy Lucas come up and tell us a little bit more about our Legal Shield and Identity Theft Program.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is about the third or fourth year I've seen all of you, so I thought what we do is change it up a little bit. Thought I'd show you a quick, like, less than 2-minute video to get you thinking about something.
These people are living the dream from the enviable comfort of their designated work areas. But if something unfortunate were to occur and they didn't have a will, do you know what would happen? What? Well, deciding what would happen to their bank accounts, their real estate, their little tiny bobblehead thingy collections, it would all be distributed according to the laws of their state or province. No, it's extremely unfair. Your assets at the mercy of some cold, unfeeling statutory formula? That sounds horrible. It is. That's why will preparation is of the utmost importance. And it's easy, because will preparation by a lawyer is part of your Legal Shield membership. The Prepare Your Will questionnaire in the mobile app will help you figure out what's important to you. I figured no need to spend money on a will. I'll just write it out so you get a fire sale. Oh yeah, that'll work. Because kids always agree on everything. Plus, like I said, it's included in the monthly membership.
Right now, it's just me and the cats. I need to be clear. What should happen if I'm not able to make my own healthcare decisions?
Well, that can be covered by a living will and a healthcare power of attorney. And the will would take care of the cats. Get a will?
Took care of my will years ago, but I probably need to get it updated again. My full vinyl collection cannot end up in the wrong hands.
Well, Legal Shield can review and update your will yearly if you like.
What would happen to my Instagram and all my followers?
Start with the Prepare Your Will questionnaire in the Legal Shield mobile app. Your information will be sent directly to a lawyer to prepare your will. Simple. And you won't have to leave what's most important to you in the hands of bureaucrats.
So basically, what we've done is, I wanted to show you this because one of the things I've offered up to Carolyn was that I've been doing life review and will workshops as part of the service that we offer to you guys. So we're going to make available a time, it's going to be convenient for all of you, and I'm going to come back and we're going to help you go through this, because this is the time of year you also need to review all your beneficiaries, everything. So it's important, but also I'm going to teach you how to be proactive in using our service, because most of us don't really know how to use a law firm. So if you want to hit that next slide, Ron. There you go. So coming soon will be these workshops that we're going to be putting together. So I just wanted to remind you what's included. You saw it on the video, and I'll show you another quick little video. Maybe. We're stuck.
Take a look around. Everybody's in their own little world. We take off to wherever we want, connect to public Wi-Fi, go about our business without any concern for information security. Which is great for ID thieves. To them, hotspot might as well say turkey shoot. security question to hack.
What?
All too easy. However, there's more you gotta worry about than just personal data. There are those things that seemed harmless at the time, like when you were tagged in that photo, wearing nothing but necktie and gym shorts while playing beer pong. Epic. But you do remember your boss friended you, right? So become a member of ID Shield. Download the app, set up social media monitoring. We'll keep an eye on things. We'll let you know where your vulnerabilities are. And even let you know if something pops up in your social media world that you may not want to stay public. ID Shield. You can send us a thank you tweet later. We'll probably have you delete it.
So, as you guys have all heard with Facebook and everything being hacked and orbits and all of that, just want to remind you that you have the most comprehensive plan available to you on the market. It is a two-step process. Actually, the next one, Ron. It is a two-step process. So when you enroll, if you've been a member already and you've activated and everything, you don't need to do anything. But for those of you that are going to enroll new, it is a two-step process. So when you go into Navigator and you choose to participate, that's step one. You'll hear from me again closer to the first part of May through Carolyn. That's going to remind you to go do step two. Some of you may have gotten a notice a few months ago where I pushed out that said, hey, you needed to go activate, because you were paying for a service that you hadn't activated. So I want to make sure that you understand you can monitor everything in here and have some peace of mind around it. So the other thing I want to point out real quick is the ID Shield Vault. They're recommending us now to change our passwords all the time. I don't know about you guys, but I can't keep up with them. We have the ID Shield Vault that actually will create and store complex passwords for you. It's got military-grade encryption around it. It's included as part of your service. So in other words, you can go your bank accounts, you can go your medical sites, you can do all those important websites through this vault, and it'll store that password and it'll wrap encryption around it to help protect it even more. So we're doing what we can to help you guys protect that information. Last slide. And lastly, I just want to remind you that because of your association with us as a member of Legal Shield and ID Shield, there's over 400 companies that offer you discounts. Anybody in here have Verizon? I get 8% off my bill because of going through member perks. So I encourage you to take a look at them if you're already a member, but you can get it from everyday stuff, groceries, stuff for your car, to the big stuff, buying a house, trips, and so forth. It can save you a lot of money. In fact, it can offset a lot of your costs and your premiums that you have. So just wanted to remind you about that. I'll stick around as well and answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
All right, I'm back. So we are utilizing the same benefit enrollment platform as last year. I believe, Marty, did you already send out the link? She's shaking her head yes. So you all should have the link to get back into Employee Navigator. If you have any issues with your username or password, I'm told Nick would be happy to help. And if there's anything that he doesn't want to handle, he'll throw it over to me. And we'll get you back onto the system, and from there it'll be just like the last few years. You can go through, you'll just make sure your personal information, dependent information is all accurate, up to date, and then you'll go through and elect your benefits for this year. It should show you the updated plans, premiums, and such. If you have any questions on the benefits themselves, there should be some summary plan descriptions and things like that on the side that you can access. And then the only other thing you'll have to do is just make sure, very important step, that you update your beneficiary. May not have changed, but just make sure that you are taking a look at it this year. Things do change from year to year. Make sure whoever you got in there is who you want the money to go to. It's an uncomfortable conversation when it's not. So go ahead and get that updated, review your benefits summary, and agree to it for this year, and you will be good to go. I believe the open enrollment is through the 9th at noon. So you have till the 9th at noon to log in and go through your benefits one more time. Thank you.
Let me wrap this up. Ron, can you show this? We have a lot of people behind the scenes who are helping all of this work for you. We have what I call a benefits partner list, which I will post on Employee Navigator. The first one is Allegiance. People have asked me, well, who is that? That's a third-party administrator. I think they're located in Montana. They're really, really nice people. And behind the scenes, they pay all of your medical claims, your hospital claims, your doctor claims, and so forth. And they're on your card, so that proof of insurance card, you might be stuck have a question, you're at the doctor's office and they go, I don't know what to do. You say, see, it says call this number, and they'll give you the answers. They're wonderful people. So that's a first partner. Ron? Matt just mentioned the company Assurity. This is the company through which we offer you the accident insurance and the critical illness insurance. Next. Bucati's been our benefits broker for a long, long time. They're 4 minutes from here, so if you really want to go and you can visit them to get your questions answered in person, it's really, really great. And they are our benefits broker for all of the things that they talked about, but the voluntary plans, the life insurance, and our disability plan, and also our employee assistance program, which I chose not to talk about this year. But if you need to talk to a counselor, you have some issues in your family, you can have, I think it's 3 or 4 visits at no cost to you through our employee assistance program. So again, they're here to answer questions about that. Next, Ron. Cigna. We do not have Cigna insurance. We are self-insured, but we rent the Cigna network of hospitals, doctors, dentists, chiropractors, counselors, whatever. So we rent their network, and they're a huge network nationwide and very big footprint in Kansas City. Next. Legal Shield, we met Kathy, so they are our identity theft provider and also our prepaid legal service provider. Next. Lincoln Financial is a company behind the scenes. It's a huge company, and we're buying our short-term disability, our long-term disability, and our life insurance products, and they offer that employee assistance program I referenced just a moment ago. Next. Mercer is the largest benefits broker on the planet, and they are our broker. They help us with our medical and our dental plans. New Synergy is a part of the Bucati companies, and they administer that flex plan, so that dependent care coverage and all of those medical bills and dental bills on a pre-tax basis. Guys, if you're not using it, you're giving money to the IRS that they do not deserve. So if you don't understand, please, please get your questions answered. Surancy is the company that offers our glasses and contact lenses. And we haven't talked about VALIC. Why? Because VALIC is our retirement plan, which has nothing to do with anything that we talked about today, okay? It's still a fabulous benefit, but it doesn't have to obey by the open enrollment rules, okay? Ron, the next slide, please, the last slide. If you still don't know what to do, our guests are going to stay for the next few minutes to answer questions. Then what else can you do? Well, Employee Navigator, there's a resource tab in Employee Navigator, and that's going to have all kinds of information, more information than you would want to even know about some of our benefits. So you might start there, especially if you're a reader and you need to see it for yourself. You can always come to the business office. We can help you. We'll love to help you. Call the number on your card or go to the website for the particular benefit that you have a concern about. Okay, the deadline for benefits, this is the third time you've heard this, is next Monday at noon. And you know what happens if you don't sign up by then? Nick Cotini comes to find you, okay? He hunts you down, so you can go and hide, but he will come and find you if you've not signed up by that time, okay? If you are not coming back to Barstow next year, does this apply to you? Yes, because at midnight on April the 30th, whatever benefits you have now disappear. So if you want benefits starting May 1 until you leave Barstow, the end of the month that you leave Barstow, whether it's May or June or whatever, then you need to go ahead and sign up for benefits. Sorry about that, but it's it doesn't take very long, and that's what happens. Okay, if you need assistance with signing up, please come up to the business office, because Nick and Marty will be on the front line to answer questions that you might have. That's all I have. So thank you for your attention. You've been a great audience.